The market capitalization of the coin is used to summarize all that is taught in this video. I would also like to remind you to give my channel a like and subscribe to it so that you can stay up to date on future XRP news as well as other cryptocurrency news in general. Take a look at this now, shall we? Major victory for Ripple. XRP attorney rejoices with the historic conclusion of the SEC lawsuit. In response to a complaint filed by the SEC, Judge Torres has issued an order that mandates Ripple to pay civil penalties amounting to a total of $125 million, in comparison to the penalty that the SEC had requested. These penalties represent a very small amount, putting an end to the protracted legal battle that Ripple had been engaged in with the United States regulator for close than 4 years. In July of the previous year, Judge Torres came to the conclusion that the only event in which XRP may potentially be subject to securities law was when it was made available to institutional investors. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) had previously sought almost $2 billion in charges against Ripple. However, Ripple argued that companies should not be obliged to pay fines that exceed $10 million. The court does not currently hold that Ripple's post-complaint sales have violated Section 5, as specified in the order that was given to the parties involved. As a consequence of this, a general injunction was issued in order to forestall any further violations of the national security regulations. In addition, Judge Torres did not allow the request filed by the SEC to disgorge the profits that Ripple made from sales that were more than $876 million, as well as the interest that was over $198 million. The regulatory agency was looking for a civil penalty of $876 million in addition to the other penalties. Unfortunately, investors suffered significant losses as a consequence of Ripple's failure to register the transaction with the SEC. There are no claims of fraud, misappropriation, or any other more culpable conduct, according to the court, who also stated that the case does not involve any of these allegations. In addition, the judge noted that the Securities and Exchange Commission had not demonstrated that the failure to register the sales had resulted in significant losses for investors, due to the fact that the court declined the SEC's claim by around 94. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, commented that the ruling was a victory not only for Ripple, but also for the Bitcoin trading sector as a whole. After the verdict was handed out, the value of XRP increased by as much as 25%. Here are some reactions from the XRP community to honor the historic completion of the lengthy litigation that was brought against Ripple by the SE+X. However, Bernie Jeremy Hogan went to the Club X. The outcome was referred to by him as a significant victory for Ripple. It is long gone now. Ripple's legal battle with the Securities and Exchange Commission has been quite an exciting one. I am appreciative that you have provided me with access to it. Ripple has achieved a significant success with this decision, as it has resulted in a penalty of $125 million and an injunctive order without any doubt whatsoever. May you have a day filled with happiness. On August 7th, 2024, Jeremy Hogan, using the handle Hogan tweeted a screenshot of a piece of the ruling that applies to ODL sales. In his second tweet, Hogan also said that the court did not supply the SEC with the old dove language according to what the SEC intended. Hogan's action was successful. Ripple argued that a portion of the proposed judgment, which prohibits it from conducting an unregistered offering of institutional sales, should be modified to make it more clear that it does not prohibit old sales, does not prohibit extraterritorial conduct, and does not prohibit sales that qualify for exemptions from registration. Ripple's argument was that this provision should be modified. An agreement was reached between the judge and the statement that the proposed language from the SEC is excessively categorical. In any event, activity that is repeated in a manner that is banned by a component of the proposed judgment. Therefore, the court will not take into consideration the suggested portion. This was a proposal that was made by the SEC. The judges have provided support for Ripple's assertion that there is no way to anticipate any profits when the XRP is only held for a single second. I am of the opinion that the injunction that was granted in the verdict does not alter the current situation regarding ODL sales. According to Hogan, this is the situation since the judge made the decision to reject the terminology that was employed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ripple was ordered to pay a fine of $125 million for the fact that XRP is not a security, which finally put an end to the litigation that had been going on between the SEC and Ripple. The sales that Ripple makes to retail consumers are deemed to be valid by the court, which also distinguishes these sales from those that are made to institutional customers. The price of Ripple's XRP soared by 20% after a court ruling. Despite the fact that the market as a whole fell, Judge Annalisa Torres issued a significant decision when she ordered Ripple Labs to pay civil fines that totaled $125 billion. This decision held significant importance. A lawsuit that had been ongoing with the SEC for 4 years was finally resolved as a result of this ruling of the court. Ripple was accused of engaging in the sale of securities without first registering them, according to the complaint that was submitted in November of 2020. As a direct consequence of this verdict, it is evident that Ripple's standing as well as the regulatory environment for digital assets have been defined. This represents a particularly significant time in the world of cryptocurrencies. In order to ensure that it does not ban extraterritorial conduct or online delivered product sales, the legal team that represents Ripple has requested clarification. The court agreed with the recommendations made by the SEC, pointing out that the language that was provided was far too wide. Ripple was ordered to pay a punishment of $125 million and will be prohibited from committing any additional violations of securities law, according to a verdict that was given by Judge Torres on Wednesday. The ruling also stated that Ripple would be ordered to pay the amount. Due to the fact that the SEC had initially sought a significantly larger penalty estimated at $2 billion, Ripple appears to have gained some kind of victory as a result of this ruling. Despite the fact that Ripple's programmatic sales to retail consumers did not violate federal securities laws, the court came to the conclusion that the company's institutional sales of XRP did violate those laws. In light of the fact that XRP is not a security, it is important to remember that this is a big triumph for the entire XRP community. It is confident in Ripple's commitment to the cryptocurrency market with faith. Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) have been engaged in a protracted legal struggle about XRP, which has resulted in a verdict that was split by a federal judge. This choice is widely seen as a decision that will go down in history. However, it is true that certain of Ripple's transactions involving XRP did in fact represent unregistered securities offers. RCRP, on the other hand, is not a security. The decision that Judge Annalisa Torres arrived at was that XRP did not meet the criteria to be considered a security. Ripple has scored a huge triumph as a result of this ruling, and ripples have been transmitted via the cryptocurrency market, which has resulted in a significant increase in the price of XRP. Ripple's fine of $125 million has been either successful or unsuccessful. Despite the fact that Ripple was overjoyed by the classification of XRP, the news was not entirely favorable. $125 million was the amount of the civil penalty that the court assessed against Ripple, which is a considerable sum despite the fact that it is a far cry from the $2 billion that the Securities and Exchange Commission had desired. Additionally, Ripple was subject to an injunction that would prevent the business from breaking securities laws in the future. This was a consequence of the penalties that were imposed. It was pointed out by Brad Garlinghouse, the chief executive officer of Ripple, that the SEC's claim of $2 billion was reduced by 94%, and he commended the ruling of the court as a great success. Ripple's progress is made more transparent as a result of this judgment, which, according to him, eliminates the headwinds that the SEC has been working to exert on XRP. Both the penalties and the injunction were granted by District Judge Annalisa Torres of the Southern District of New York. The injunction was issued to prevent any violations of the securities law from occurring in the future. It was her opinion from July 2023 that established the basis for this decision. In her opinion, she indicated that Ripple's direct selling of XRP to institutional clients was in violation of securities rules. Initial demands made by the Securities and Exchange Commission included a disgorgement amount of $1 billion, prejudgment interest of $900 million, and civil penalties of $900 million. When compared to that sum, the fine of $125 million represents a huge reduction. Mark Fagel, in his response to the announcement, emphasized that the court's decision to punish Ripple was significantly more